Okay, so this was part number 10 of the .NET MAUI tutorial videos that I was making, and in this video we are going to add some logic to the edition page view model. So let's head over inside it and let us actually create an observable property. So observable property int edition number 1. This is the number 1 that is of the first number that will be shown. Then let's create an observable property. Let's create another int. Edition number 2. Let's create another observable property. And this cannot be edition number 3 because that's not right. We are going to call this edition user answer. This is the answer that the user is going to type in. Then let's create a new observable property again. This time this is going to be another int, and this is going to be called the correct answers as usual. So let's go on this correct answers, and then let's create a new observable property. This is an int wrong answers, and then finally let's create another observable property, and this is also an int total answers until it sends that just for me. Okay, so now in the edition page view model function that you have to create, let's actually randomize edition number 1 equals to random.shared.next, and we're going to randomize it between 1 to 300. So 1 is the minimum value, 300 is the maximum value. Let's create an edition number 2 equals to random.shared.next between 1 to 300 again. 1 is the minimum, 300 is the maximum. So that's what we just needed to write. Now let's create a command for this. So let's create a relay command. And first, let me show you that as usual the using community toolkit.mvvm input has come. So I'm just going to remove this using android.render script. You don't need it. And in the relay command, let's create a private voice, no void, not voice interaction, not video subscriber content. It's a void, and submit. And I know that there's a using somewhere up there, using Android service to voice. Let's remove it. It's not needed. Okay, now we're going to create a var, and this is the edition user ans, and we're going to set it actually to what? Well, of course we have to set it to the user answer, so we can say edition user answer. Alright, like that. Edition user ans equals to edition user answer. That's it. Now these vars are actually a short form of a variable, so these are variables that I'm creating. So let's create another var. Correct answer ans, it's just equals to correct. It's actually equals to edition number 1 plus the edition number 2, and that's IntelliSense who did that for me. Now let's create another if statement, and in this if statement we're going to check whether the edition user answer is equals to 0, which means that it's null and there's nothing in the entry. So let's set that 0, and inside the condition of what should happen then is we should application current domain page dot you should actually display alert to the user that unfortunately there was an error in what you thought would be fine. So just tell him the button okay, and then we need to tell him error, and also we have to tell him that the reason of it. So we're just gonna say the answer can never be 0. Why can it never be 0 is because this is an addition question. That's why it can't be a 0, because you're just adding numbers, and it could be 0 if the minimum value is actually 0, but here it's just 1 to 100. I mean 1 to 300. Okay, now let's perform a check for seeing if the user did let's perform a check to see whether the user wrote the right answer. So we're going to check if the edition user answer, or rather now we use the var So if the addition user ans equals the correct ans, let's just capitalize the C, correct ans, then we should say to him application dot current dot main page dot display alert as usual. So we can actually display an alert to him and tell him that he really did great. So we're gonna say application dot current dot main page dot display alert. First let's type the next question, then let's type in his result, not result, and finally give him his result. Well, it's great, you know your stuff. That's the result that he gets out of his test that when we were testing. Okay, that's all. Great, you know your stuff. And the next question, and really that's all. We also want to increase the right answers, which is the correct answers, by 1, and the total answers as well by 1. Okay, now let's perform an else statement. So we're gonna say else, tell him that he didn't do good. So we're gonna say application dot current dot main page dot display alert, and we're going to tell him, you know what, your result. First we're going to press OK and type in the next question. Alright, and then finally in the result we're going to tell him, you know what, failure. That's not right, failure. So you write the result in the title, and we are finally going to give him his description of his result. So failure is the result, and that's really it. Now let us also perform checks for the whole test result. Before we do that, we should first add wrong answers and add the total answers by 1, both of them. Now we can perform checks of the correct and wrong answers. So let's do that. Okay, now let's create another if statement, and this if statement, actually in this if block, what are we gonna write? We're going to tell him that if the total answers are 20, so if the total answers equals to 20, and correct answers is equals to 16, then we're going to application dot current dot main page dot application dot current dot main page dot display alert, and we're going to display alert to him. No, we don't need to display an alert to him. We have to actually navigate. So going to say application dot current dot main page dot navigation. So you're gonna have the navigation dot pop-async. That's all we need to do. So we're gonna go to the back page, and we're going to give him his whole test result. Then we're gonna say application dot current dot main page dot display alert, and this is when we display the alert. So we're going to application dot current dot main page dot display alert, and we're going to display an alert. Okay, in the button, going to say whole test result as a title, and the description for his whole test result is going to be great, that he does his job very well. So we're going to tell him, great job, you, great job, exclamation mark, you passed, not capital P, small p, and just small p, small letters now. You passed the addition test, and that's actually exclamation dot. So we have performed a check for the correct answers. Let's perform a check for the wrong answers. So if total answers equals, first let me change this to if correct answers is greater than or equals to 16, if total answers equals to 20, and wrong answers are greater than or equals to 5. Let's change this to greater than. Then we must pop async, so application dot main page, application dot current dot main page dot navigation dot pop async, and that is it. And then finally application dot current dot main page dot display alert, and then we're going to give him his whole results, and we're gonna tell him, oh no, you failed the addition test, and he's going to press the button. Okay, there is gonna be no button redo because we don't want a redo button. We just want his whole result that he actually did, and how he failed, how he did good, did he do good. So you're gonna say, oh no, you failed the addition test, which is not good, right? People would like their children to successfully do the test. Anyway, so that is what we had to write here. Now, and return also as well. Forgot at the top here we had to write return. I forgot that, so that it doesn't check whether the total answers again are 20 and then the wrong answers is greater than or equals to 5. We just need to return back up. So addition number 1, we just need to randomize them again. Only if the total answers and total answers don't succeed, they become false, and then we can just, let's say addition number 1 equals random to share on next between 1 to 300, and let's paste this 2 more times, and I'm going to set this one to 0. But so what am I doing? Well, of course I will change this to the user answer, because the user answer now needs to be set to 0. Okay, the next thing is just set this to 2. Alright, so this is it from what we had to write from the logic. But now, what about my bindings? That's what's the question. Let's go through and hit the bindings now. So let's go inside the label text and let's write a binding for it. Addition number 1. Then let's go in binding. Addition number 2. That's all for what we had to write in these label texts that I created in the last video of adding UI. Finally, in the entry placeholder, let's give it the addition user answer, and that's what I meant by text. The text is what the user actually is writing, so we're using the text as a way to represent his answer. Now label text is equals to binding total answers, label text equals to binding correct answers, finally last of all label text equals to binding wrong answers. That's literally it. And so now I'll hit the button of playing it on the Pixel 5 API 33 Android mobile that I have actually. You can go and get it from Window Android Device Manager, and there you will have a button on the right top called New. Okay, now I'll click the start, go ahead to tests, click on yes, and if I head into the edition, there it is. It's asking me the number. Now let's actually get the calculator out, and I will actually calculate this. So what is 83 plus 109? I know it is 192, but just to be very sure that this doesn't fail, I have to make sure that 192 is the right answer. So it is. I can't paste it because as soon as you press Control, there's a problem. Anyway, I'm gonna click 192 and check. Nothing is happening because I didn't bind the button to any command, so I'm gonna give it a command. And this was the final binding I forgot. This is called submit command. There you are. There it is, and that is all it that you had to do. And here you go, it opens up. And what number do we need to actually plus? Okay, a little start, go into tests, addition, go back in addition. Alright, so it is 275 plus 61. 275 plus 61, I already know what it is. It's 336. That's what I knew. It's 5336 right now, and I hit the check button. There you are, he says, great, I know my stuff. So now if I type in rubbish values and hit the check button, it will tell me I failed. And if I just press do nothing, it's gonna say the answer can never be 0 because this is an addition question, which is a lot so cool, right? So now I will do 281 plus 105, and just to make you guys sure that I'm not cheating and I have not written false code, there you are. 233, of course, everyone knows that it's 273. And also you can actually write 233 plus something, right? Because I've just stuck it to keyboard numeric. Anyway, let's write 73 and hit the check button. There you are. 200 plus 213 is so simple as 413. 413. And check the answer. There you go. So this is the app, and this is your status, and this is where you should be right now. And of course every subject will have its own level. So if you're a beginner, we will create actually beginner buttons and intermediate buttons and professional buttons that's gonna ask you different questions and complex and unique questions. So I shall see you in the next video where we shall add UI to our subtraction page. So see you in the next video.